Good evening and welcome back for the first time in, what has it been, a month? To In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral. The last time we were here, we were discussing classic races, and we've waited till there's more classic action to come back to the studio. Very different feel to Newmarket, of course, though, where the ground was incredibly soft. Will that Guineas form stand up or be turned on its head over the next couple of days? We will soon find out, of course, and that is most important in the Derby. But we will get to that a little bit later on, because we'll be looking at Saturday's card tomorrow night, of course. And we'll be looking at Friday's card tonight. And we've got the Oaks. We've got stars of the past, present and potentially future at Epsom tomorrow in those Group 1 contests. And, of course, maybe the Woodcote, a couple of other interesting races as well. So this is live and interactive as ever, so if you're watching at home, please do get in touch on that chat box. Hello to everyone already getting involved. Hello to Michael Lenahan, to Kinky Cadet, to Daniel Dolan, to Nicholas, to Devo, and to plenty of others who will surely join us throughout the evening. Like the stream and subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. But it's been a month since I've seen his face, but luckily it's barely changed. In the studio, it's the one and only Mr. Paul Kealy. How you doing, mate?
It's got slightly older, probably a little bit fatter, but it's the same face.
I'd almost say to me then for a second.
I'd almost forgotten what London looked like.
Yeah.
But yeah, dragged in again. Here we are.
That's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Nice to get out, isn't it? Be allowed out.
Yeah. What's happened to you over the past month then, Keels? Anything to report?
Well, not really. Played a lot of golf. Went to Mallorca, had a game of golf. Went up to Turnberry, had a game of golf. Not much other than that, really.
A lot of golf then.
Yeah.
Lots
of losers. Other than that.
I think have you already retired, Keels? Because that's what people do when they retire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
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 Fair enough.
Well, I've had an each way double in tomorrow's card actually, and they're not both in the frame. I will be retiring. Just going to give up.
You heard it here first. Tom Segal is at home, and have you left the room in the past 4 weeks, Tom? Have you been out and about? Have you seen the sunshine? Give us what have you done on your school holidays kind of report?
What have I done? Absolutely. I went to watch cricket. I didn't watch a bit of cricket. I like cricket, so I've been off to watch Hampshire play cricket a bit, but not really. Not done too much, Ross.
No.
Done some gardening. I like gardening when I get old.
Yeah.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think gardening's rubbish.
Say that again. Sorry, because a bit of an echo. If the producer just turn the talk back off, that'd be great. You said something about gardening there, Tom. I couldn't tell you if you said. Did you say you loved it or you hated it?
I used to hate it, but now I'm quite into it. I think just when you get past 50, you start to think, oh, that garden looks a bit rubbish. I'll have a crack at that. So, done a bit of that. Watched a bit of cricket, played a bit of golf, and back to losers like Keels. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're apart from the cricket and the golf. Yeah, I'm with you with the garden and the losers. But Devo says different month, different classic, same old aging Ross. Yeah, exactly. I think I am. Maybe I am feeling 50, Tom, as well, because me and my partner went out this morning.
You're
and
not even 40, are you?
You what?
You're not even 40.
I'm not even 40, no. But I'm starting to look it. Look, I've got grey everywhere. It's grey even in me. I think my eyes are going grey.
You know what I'd give for grey hair, mate?
But nothing like wake up in the morning, Tom, and see something in the front as flowered or sprouted a new bit of that, It's nice to step away from the screen every now and then, isn't it?
Absolutely, and the sun's shining, and it's just a better time of year, isn't it? Everyone's so much happier. The sun's out. It's good fun.
Absolutely. And Simon Clare joins us for 2 days of Epsom fun and games. Are you green-fingered, Simon?
God, it just shows you I'm the wrong side of 50 as well, and I seem to get more pleasure now out of keeping my garden happy and healthy. Yeah, it gets addictive, actually. It shows you we're spending more time at home. Like, I've learnt the art of weed killer, which doesn't affect lawns. And so I'm going around killing all the weeds, and my lawn looks fantastic. So, yeah, I'm with Tom all the way. I've been playing cricket and watching golf the other way around.
This is lovely. I mean, I do harbour a slight ambition to become the next Monty Don, and I feel like this is the first step on the way. So thanks, guys. Epsom, though, 2 days. We've got two classics, Group 1 action with 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, sprints, middle distance races, you name it, and of course the fun and games, Simon. Of I'm still waiting for some sort of flat-based handicap on the wrong side, stopped him running, unlucky or something, some sort of consolation, because it's going to happen all weekend.
Yeah, look, it's I'm really looking forward to it. I think the two days cards look great. You know, it's a shame the Derby's been run so early on the Saturday, but you know, it's a one-off with the clash with the FA Cup, and I mean, in many ways you can sort of sell it as a big double header. You know, the Derby and then the Manchester Derby and the FA Cup final. I'm sure, people watching from home are going to have a great day of sport. And yeah, no, it's a I think tomorrow we got everything you want in both classics. You know, got Frankie Dettori with big chances in his last ever Epsom rides. You've got Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore with favourites. You've got Godolphin and William Buick with big chances. And you've got, the comeback king, Oisin Murphy, who's on fire with 2 leading chances. So I think, both classics have got all the ingredients you'd want from them, which is great. And obviously we were talking about one today and one tomorrow night. And I should mention, straight up top, our price enhancement is Westover in the Coronation Cup tomorrow. We were going to push him out to 5-2 from 2, but he's drifting in the market a bit, and he's now out to 11-4, generally 9-4, and that's a £20 max stake available for the next hour until 7 o'clock if you fancy getting a bit of value, and hopefully he doesn't drift anymore, and that 11-4 ends up being a standout price.
Okay, then Westover to win the Coronation Cup, 11-4 out for 2-1 until 7 p.m. And I tell you what, the break must have freshened us up, because I think that's the first time we've ever got that hour-long price boost in straight off the bat. So that bodes well for the rest of the show. We'll get stuck into Epsom after this. There you go, and subscribe to the Members Club, and let's get stuck into that Epsom card on Friday then. Like I said, past, present and potentially future as we kick off with the Woodcote Stakes, which is of course a conditions race these days, but has thrown up some decent winners in the past, your Buratinos and your Pinatubos, and it's thrown up some, let's say, other winners. But it's an open contest this year, that's for sure. Hartem is 7-2, Ballon d'Or 4-1, the Camden Colt is 5-1, Valor and Swagger is 6s, Bobsleigh 9-1, Yorkshire Terrier 10s, Landlover 11s, May 14-1, and bigger prices the rest. And there are plenty of horses in here coming into this in good nick, whether it's off unlucky defeats like Ballon d'Or from that poor draw at Chester last time out, or off impressive victories like Hartem pulling away at Bath, or Bobsleigh bolting up for Eve Johnson Horton. And I'm going to come to you first because you like a 2-year-old race, Tom. Yeah, quite a few of these with decent form in the book. It is occasionally a bit of a top-heavy race, the Woodcote, but I'd say there's 4 or 5 who've run to a really rock-solid standard here. Yeah,
I like two-year-old races. Don't think any of them are going to be elite statuses, who I thought was mega impressive at Sandown the other night, but I think it's a really good race, as you say. I think Hartem was really impressive at Bath after catching the eye at Goodwood, where he sort of finished fast. I think the Hannons harbour hopes of him going to Royal Ascot. I think he's much better than the other one, the Camden Colt. I know Ryan Moore rides that one, but I think Hartem will beat him. Bobsleigh's was definitely impressive on his debut at Brighton. Eve Johnson Horton, we know what she can do on the was it the Windsor Castle the other year with that horse, the Chip Potley that went up the far side. Same owners, I think, so he could go well. Valor and Swagger is another Colberg special. I think there's been 2 listed races so far, haven't they? And he's been first and second in both of them. So wouldn't rule out him. But I like Ballon d'Or. I really do. I thought he ran really well from stall 11 at Chester last time. I think the ground had been too soft. I think the time before at Musselburgh, he was really quite impressive. He hit the line quite hard that day. That was over 5. The form has worked out well. The second, Sergeant Wilco, I think, of Kevin Rahn's been snapped up by King Power since then. He was second that day, won his maiden, and King Power fought him. So I can't believe Kevin Rahn thinks he's very bad. I don't think we would have put him onto them. And I just think he's crying out for 7. I guess the name means that he's always been highly regarded by the Owen camp and Hugo Palmer. I like Hugo Palmer in these sort of 2-year-old races. I just thought from stall 3, he will get out, be in front, and it will take a good one to get past him. So I think the step up to 6 Furlongs will suit and better ground. So for me, it was all about Ballon d'Or. I am scared of Hartem, but just think the run of the race might go Ballon d'Or's way. So he's my selection.
Okay, Ballon d'Or then it is, who will certainly help him if it's messy in behind. But Hartem, 7-2 favourite. I quite liked him. I thought he hated Goodwood on debut, and then the further he went, the better he got it.
Bath will he hate Goodwood and David? Will he hate Epsom as well? Downhill, isn't it?
Yeah, possibly. It was more like 5 furlongs on a fast track first time out.
It's inexperience. It's inexperience first time out. I like him. He's the only horse in the race with a Group 2 entry, with a group entry at the moment. He's in the Railway Stakes in Ireland, so he's obviously well thought of. But when I was looking at this, last year's winner, Legend of Xanadu, is the first winner in 10 years to come out of a stall higher than 6.
Okay.
And of the first 4 in the betting, the only horse who's lower than 6 is Ballon d'Or. And he did have to work. He's obviously got bags of pace because he managed to get level with the horse-drawn 1 at Chester last time, but he still had to go very wide to do it. So he covered an awful lot more ground. Showed a really, really willing attitude as well. So he's not going to have to work anywhere near as hard to get a good position this time from stall 3. So yeah, like Tom says, I think he'll get the run of the race. Wouldn't surprise me whatsoever if Hartem proved the best horse in the race. But I think this will be one for Ballon d'Or, who's just going to be in the right place at the right time, and just might be hard to catch.
Okay, there you go then. Ballon d'Or 4-1, a double bubble there, Simon, for the first race, and nice little bit of agreement for our pundits again. The break certainly has. It's changed us all, I think.
I know, this is crazy. I don't even know why I bothered even doing a little bit of preparation, because those guys have just said it all. I mean, Ballon d'Or, the low draw, the run at Chester from a bad draw. This is the biggest fit. Last year was 12 runners. This is also 12 runners, much bigger than previous years. But favourites have come to the fore. 7 favourites in 10 years. Only one double-figure price winner at 10-1. It really just suggests concentrating on the front end of the market. And so, I'm in complete agreement with the guys. Ballon d'Or, given the draw and that run last time, looks to have a massive chance. All of the last 10 winners had won, if not the time before, at some point before. And there's 5 in this race who haven't yet won a race. Everything's sort of points to focusing on the front of the market.
Interesting, Sam, just to double up on that as well. The ones who haven't, the first 5 draws, the only one who has won a race is Ballon d'Or. So you've got the only one who's drawn well is Ballon d'Or. The only one in those good draws that's actually won a race is Ballon d'Or. I didn't particularly fancy him, but I'm starting to come around to it now.
Yeah. Exactly. If you did sort of all those analyses, it would just come up with a big circle in the Venn diagram of Ballon d'Or, wouldn't it? So we'll see if we're right tomorrow. I mean, I should say the money's coming for Hartem. That's been the best backed in the last couple of hours, and bobsleigh from 12s into 9s. Hartem 7-2 from 4. We're going 4 places, not 3, to reflect, quite a deep feel for this Woodcote. But yeah, for me, I think Ballon d'Or's the one I like best in this.
Okay, yeah, Ballon d'Or then it is. Yes, Ballon d'Or says Kevin Kenny. A few people don't particularly think this is a very good race. And Genghis says if they're all going for Ballon d'Or, I'm going for Hartem. So not too many opinions here, but nice to see that people specifically watch just to completely disagree with what we're going for. But that's as long as you watch, that's all that matters, quite frankly. I think there's got to be some people, Keels, who sit at home for a whole hour go, these guys, that's rubbish, they know what they're talking about.
You only have to look at the comments on some of these things. You always find someone down there, I only watch this so I can find out what they're tipping so I can lay them.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, you've got to have a system, haven't you? Okay, the Woodcote then, Tom. I think we're all in agreement, pretty much. What are you going with?
Further to Keels' point, the two horses drawn in 5 and 6 were Buratino and Pinatubu, proper Group 1 horses, basically. So the draw does make an effect at this race, and I think that's why I'm edging Ballon d'Or over Hearten.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right. I think 5 of the last 10 were drawn 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Ballon d'Or.
Okay, fair enough. And Simon?
Yeah, Ballon d'Or for me. Yeah, I've got half an iron. Oisin Murphy's just riding so well. I had a little look at Yorkshire Terrier. He's drawn terribly in 12 based on those stats. But if he's been given that Newmarket run, a good tough ground, he's got a couple of decent wins on the all-weather. Thought he might run well at a big price, but badly drawn. But no, Ballon d'Or the tip.
Lovely stuff. Okay, moving on then to the 2:35 at Epsom, which is a mile and a half of furlong, the distance for this handicap, and All the King's Men is 5-1. Roscoe is 11-2. Dutch Decoy 6-1. Revich is 6-1. Fantastic Fox 13-2. Austrian Theory 8-1. Orban 11-1. Repertoire 12s and bigger prices the rest, and plenty of horses that we've all had our head in our hands over the seasons back in, and it's one of those races where the luck is going to play a big part. Revich got that look at Chester last time out, of course. All the King's Men has not had much luck. He should appreciate the Humpty Dumpty track. As for the others, you've got the likes of Orban, who surely will be coming from last to 4th or 5th at some point. And Keels, you've got your eye on one that's got duck eggs all over the shop.
I do absolutely love Revich, one of my favourite horses in training. And I've actually been up to see him at Richard Spencer's.
Really? For a horse who doesn't win that many, he seems to try his absolute face off every time.
He's got plenty of talent. It all worked out for him last time. When I was with Mallorca, none of the lads are punters, and I told them, well, you've got to back this horse, and it won. And of course, that probably contributed to me being very ill the following day. But it was great. I'd love to see him win, but I only have eyes for Ross Brierley here. Okay. I think he's so well handicapped now. He did lose his form a bit at the end last season. He had wind surgery, and his 2 runs this year haven't been great. By any stretch of the imagination, but his second one was a hell of a lot better than the first. And when you've got a horse that's had a wind operation, you'd like to see him finishing a race, and that's what he did at Ascot. He finished 10th in the Victoria Cup, and I think he's just been keyed up for this race off a mark that he can certainly win off. He was rated 105 at the start of last year. He's down to 95 now, and while he's been a high class horse on pretty much any track when he's in form, he does seem to have an affinity with these downhill courses. Now he's only run at Epsom once. He ran to a Racing Post rating of 105 2 years ago when running away with a 7 furlong handicap on this card by 4 lengths. He's run 5 times at Goodwood. He's never run an RPR of lower than 100. His highest is 111. And he just runs really well. He's only been out the first 3 there once, and that was when 7th in the Golden Mile of 20 from a draw of stall 18. He just loves downhill tracks. I think he's been shaping lately as well, as though 7 is a bit too short for him these days, and I think he's got everything right for him here, and I would be staggered if he's not there or thereabouts with a clear run.
Okay, there you go. Ross Coleman then at 11-2, and if he doesn't finish in the places, then Keels is retiring on the spot, so fingers crossed. Well, it depends what your opinion of Keels is. I guess whether you want him to be in the frame or not. All the King's Men at 5-1, though, they keep backing this horse, Tom. He's not necessarily had the best of luck necessarily about where he's positioned, I thought, but and I think the extra distance will suit. But there's so many well handicapped horses in here, or horses either stepping up to a more suitable trip, or like Fantastic Fox, for example, dropping back to what looks like a more suitable trip.
Yeah, I mean, I thought All the King's Men was worth taking on, really. I thought he was priced up mainly through the Buick factor, because they supplied Totally Charming, won the race very easily last year, didn't they? And they were sort of very defensive on him. He's got first-time blinkers, stepping up in trip. He wasn't for me. Dutch Decoy gets behind. Fantastic Fox is drawn in 13, which I thought was tricky. Orban's probably waiting for Goodwood, I would imagine. So I didn't think it was probably quite as competitive as looked at when I first started looking at it. I totally get Keels' Ross Godin love, but having backed Mondamedge on Saturday, I'm going to spoil his party and back Revich in here. Keels' old second favourite horse after Mondamedge. I just think he's got everything going for him. He's only £2 higher or £3 higher than he was last year. He looked better than ever at Goodwood, at Chester last time. Sorry, I just thought, in a race in which I didn't really think there was lots of reasons for not fancying a few. I think it's between Ross Golin and Revich, and so as Keels is on Ross Golin there, I'll go for Revich.
Okay, Roscommon 11-2's Revich is 6-1. Had a little go at too tempting in this, says Devo. As for the rest, that Dan, fantastic fox in this. Ossian Murphy right at the first time, back on better ground. Yeah, that's just about it for selections on the chat. What about you, Simon? What did you make of this? I say it's a tricky handicap. The pundits have pretty much narrowed it down to 2.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we're paying the 4 places instead of 3, given it's, again, pretty competitive. Interesting enough, just to pass on, Jim Crowley is actually riding at Chepstow tomorrow because he got 3 rides with a decent chance at Chepstow. So these jockeys, they do tend to go where they've got the best chance. But he said it's a real shame to miss the ride on Revich. I'm looking forward to seeing how he gets on. I expect the extra bit of distance will suit him even better here. He has course form. He's won round Epsom, and although the £6 rise in the weights will make life tougher, I think he goes down with an outstanding chance, if I'm honest. So I think Jim is going to be watching from Wales, cheering on Revich or bemoaning his choice if Revich wins. I must say, the horse I like is Fantastic Fox. His best runs have come over this trip. He was placed slightly unlucky last year when third off 98, now running off 93. And as I said, I keep watching Ossian Murphy riding more winners today at Yarmouth. Takes the ride. I think he's really solid at 13-2. But yeah, nice competitive race, and I can see why the guys have gone for their respective tips as well.
Okay, and Fantastic Fox is a 13-2 shot. Just reiterate your respective tips. Tom, you first.
Yeah, Revich for me.
And Keels.
Roscommon.
There you go. Yeah, you can't forget Roscommon because, like I said, it's a lot riding on it. Mate. But let's move on then to the first Group 1 of the weekend, the Coronation Cup, which is a pretty trappy one. Betting wise, Westover is 9-4, Emily Upjohn is 5-2, Hurricane Lane 4-1, Point Lonsdale is 5-1, and Tuns, I'm sure you'll correct my pronunciation on that one, is the 7-1 outsider of the lot. But it is, Tom, the battle of horses who might well have won a Derby or an Oaks if things had gone their way. Of course, Westover got trapped in a bit of a pocket behind Desert Crown last year. Emily Upjohn was, widely criticised for that ride last year. Hurricane Lane, of course, lost the shoe behind Adiyar. So they've all been here to Epsom. They've all had fairly torrid times of it. And then you've got Point Lonsdale and, of course, Foreign Raider, who's related to an ARC winner. So it's a fascinating little contest.
Yeah, my favourite race of the weekend, this. I know the Derby is a really fascinating race, but I think this is brilliant. You got the last 2 Irish Derby winners. You got an Oaks second that probably should have won, who won on Champions Day. You've got an up-and-coming, upwardly mobile Aidan O'Brien horse that's going to love stepping up to a mile and a half. And you got the German Raider Tunes in there, who on Racing Post ratings and official ratings is at least as good as most of these, and if not better. I think they have him. I think Racing Post ratings have him the same as everything in this race, and official ratings having a pound behind Westover. So he's right in there. He would be my selection, actually. I just think he's got everything going for him. He's going to be able to make the pace. He's the one that comes in here tuned for the day. Westover's been to Dubai. Emily Upjohn's having her first run of the season. Hurricane Lane's obviously tuned, but he's in blinkers now. He sort of lost his way a bit last year. He could easily bounce back, but he wasn't at his best at Epsom when he ran in the Derby. Point Lonsdale has to improve to win. He could do it, but I just thought the German horse is once again underrated. Peter Schergen won this race with Boreal in the 2000s. Can't remember what year, 2013, something like that. 2005, I can't remember. But he also won the King George with Daydream. He knows exactly what's going on. And this horse was so impressive when he won the Group 1 in Munich. He won by 10 lengths. I know it was heavy ground, but he went to the Japan Cup after that on very fast ground and was only beaten 6 lengths after fluffing the start. He blew the start by 3 or 4 lengths. He finished strongly up the outside. His form's as good as the others. Just thought he was the wrong price. I see now he might not be the wrong price because he's halved in price since this afternoon. But I still think Tunes, who will no doubt get the lead off the front, has a good chance of making all.
Okay, yeah, there's a 7-1 shot, and I think you did all right over the years, just backing German horses blind when they come over, Keels.
Yeah, absolutely. You get and. Like what has happened here, I mean, obviously Tom's tipped him, so have I, funnily enough. He's collapsed in price now. I mean, I remember. Do you remember Energizer winning at Royal Ascot years ago? I mean, that was like 16 to 1 or something overnight, and on RPRs he was clear. By a fair margin as well. And it's just, German Raider coming over here.
Why is that? Do you think people look at it and go, we can't take that form seriously?
It is a little bit like that. We're superior to them, aren't we? And it's that, and it's not always the case. In fact, it's probably
especially not in middle distance races.
Yeah, and exactly. They've got some strong stayers in Germany, haven't they? And obviously he's obviously a half brother to Torquato Tasso. The issue is the ground. He's done a lot of his running on heavy ground, but if they were prepared to send him all the way to Japan, knowing what the ground's going to be over there, they must be fairly confident that he was going to handle it. Like Tom said, he blew the start. So I think he'd be all right. And I mean, you could argue that both Westover and Hurricane Lane could do with a bit of cut anyway. And he can make the run in. Now, the problem is, do you back him now? Because he's now 7s and he was 14s this morning. I'm still going to say yes. I mean, you can forget what price he was. What price should he be? Yeah. He probably should be in amongst them, not the outsider.
Well, he's only got £1 to find with Westover on official ratings.
It was on official ratings, but if you look, I clicked on. Sometimes we get a bit of a glitch in the system, but if you click on Tunner's horse profile, we've actually got his official rating down as 120, which makes him the best horse in the race. I don't know which one's right. I was trying to find out earlier, but I don't know. But in any case, he's right up there on his best form. He ran a blinder on his return on ground that was only good to soft, give him weight away. That form worked out really well. I think the 3rd and the 6th finished 2nd and 4th in a Group 2 afterwards.
Is there any concern? All his forms on soft ground, his relatives' best form were on soft ground. Is there a concern about the ground?
There is. There has. You can't argue that there isn't. But I would say if they were prepared to send him all the way to Japan, when they know the grounds are going to be rock hard, they must be fairly confident that he can handle it, and it obviously isn't going to be anywhere near that soft tomorrow. No. That fast tomorrow.
It's also not going to be anywhere near that amount of money either. So
exactly, yeah, that's true.
Jens, do you think it's going to be very fast tomorrow?
No, I doubt it. I think it's been well watered. It's always well watered.
Yeah, it's very rarely spectacularly quick at Epsom, isn't it? Because then when it does get soft, it gets insanely soft. So it's.
And I listened to Andrew Cooper this morning, and he was saying it's going to be very well watered because he can't water overnight, really, for the Derby. Yeah. So he's, he can't have it being firm on Derby Day. So if it was good to firm now, without being able to water that much overnight, it would be firm on Derby Day, and he just cannot have that. So I think personally, it will be on the slow side of good tomorrow. So I think the ground will be perfect for Túnez, and then be much quicker on Derby Day, sort of faster on Derby Day. But I think it will be on the slow side tomorrow. So I think the ground will be perfect.
Okay, there we go. Túnez it is then at 7 to 1, and again another bit of agreement there on a German Raider. Well backed, Simon. Are you going to McKeel's and Tom as well, or did you have a strong opinion in this? What is turning out to be a more fascinating race the more I look at it.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, I'm a big Hurricane Lane fan. I mean, I don't know why I do these things. I sort of like looking at last 10 runnings. It's just quite interesting that 50% of the runners the last 10 years have been 4-year-olds. Only 2 have won. So it's just almost that. And if you look at the number of runs the winners have had, they've been sort of almost those more experienced older horses. Which sort of Hurricane Lane it fits the bill here. The 5-year-old with 12 runs to his name previously, which is still on the light end. I thought it was really impressive last time out. And at 4 to 1, he'll do for me. All the ratings are very close, like the guy said. Point Lonsdale's the lowest rate, and he's drifting like a barge. And the money's come from Túnez. I'm sure that's because the guys fancy him. They've tipped him up. Cracking little race. I mean, the last winning filly of this race was In the Groove, 1991. Would you be backing Emily up, John? I don't know. So it's a cracking race. A couple of specials. 11 to 4, obviously Westover till 7 p.m. £20 max bet if you fancy that. And we got one of these ones, which is always hard to work out. 14 to 1, Westover and Save the Last Dance, the favourite of the Oaks, to win by over 1.5 lengths. I'm not sure if that's brilliant value or not, but that's the In the Know special. 14 to 1, both Westover and Save the Last Dance, to win by over 1.5 lengths.
Well, let's go to our independent adjudicator, Tom Segal, to tell us whether that's brilliant value or not. Mr. Segal, what's the opinion?
Well, as I don't fancy Westover, it's terrible value. But I think if you're on Westover and he does win by 1.5 lengths, I think You're moving into the Oaks on a very good bet, aren't you?
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, get involved in that price boost if you fancy it. Then, as for opinions at home, Westover and Point Lonsdale in a reverse forecast says not this time. Doghouse Riley, Point Lonsdale goes on the ground, he'll win. And Kiki Cadet, Point Lonsdale's going to hack up here. Wow, okay, fair enough. Again, I think everyone's just particularly being contrary tonight because I think it's the one horse that none of us fancy, Point Lonsdale. But then again, Mark Smith says, think you guys need to be reminded how amazing you are. Shocking at tipping, but in terms of entertainment enjoyment, none can match you lot. Need these streams more often. So there you go. That is that's the proper. Well, I'm not going to say the actual phrase, but it's the compliment, insult, compliment there, isn't it? Perfect. That's absolutely perfect. But the Coronation Cup, Keels, goes to
Tunners.
Tunners it is. Okay, Tom.
Well, as you're the only one that's hit the stage, Ross, I think me and Keels, once we retire after Keels' each way double and my Tunes, I think we'll be joining you at the Edinburgh Fringe, won't we? Me and you, us three.
I think it's more likely at the end of Brighton Pier or something than the Edinburgh Fringe. So maybe Butlin's Redcoats, perhaps. I think would be more our gear. Maybe a barbershop quartet, Simon. What do you reckon?
Oh yeah, I think it would be fantastic. Yes, I'm going for Hurricane Lane.
Okay.
Moving swiftly on.
Thank you very much. Moving on then to the 345 at Epsom, a 10 furlong handicap here with a Gosden, Doyle and Godolphin favourite in the shape of Honiton, who's a horse I know myself and Keels have been on the wrong side of in the past. He's 7-2 here. Marhaba, the champ, is 9-2. Majestic is 9-2. Savvy Victory 6-1. 8-1 Toshizu and Dual Identity. Masakila is 11-1. Bad Company is 11-1. Plenty of others. Cadillac, Lord Protector, and even the City's Phantom likes a tricky track over 10 furlongs, and he's not completely out of it on his best form. But Honiton is one of those horses who, when he pops up, he looks absolutely fantastic. When he gets beat, he hates every second of it. You've got York form in the shape of Marhaba, the champ. You've got some painful old, I think favourites isn't quite the word, like Dual Identity in particular. Keels, this looks pretty tricky on paper.
Yeah, it does look tricky. I mean, Honiton's is one of those you don't trust, do you? He can win, and he can look very good. I came down on Savvy Victory.
Okay.
I just think he's just improving and improving and improving. He's got, he's obviously got a lot of weight. He's top weight, but he's had one run on a downhill track last year at Goodwood, and I like a horse who can both travel and settle when you're running downhill, and that's what he did. And he came through smoothly, and he just ran clean away from Al Mubhir, who he was giving a bit of weight to. He was giving him £4. Al Mubhir is now rated 106 as well, gone up £15 since. And he's come back this year, Savvy Victory, and he's run 2 career bests on RPRs again. That 5th at Kempton should have been 2nd. I don't think he'd have beaten the winner, but he would have beaten everything else if he'd got any sort of run. And obviously he was a very, very good 2nd at Chester last time.
Yeah, he was on the wrong side of a very good ride, and the horse finished 6th, won today at Ripon.
Yeah.
No, did he win today? No, just got touched off at Ripon by a narrow margin.
Yeah, so I think the form is. I think his form is very solid. He just keeps on improving. And I said he will travel well into the race and just hopefully be produced at the right time.
Okay, Savvy Victory then it is for Keels here. Tom, which of these caught your eye, or was it one of those races that you thought this is way too hard to get stuck into?
Yeah, far too hard for me. I find these races absolutely impossible because they're all about position, and the way the races run, I don't know how it's going to go. I thought Honiton was quite impressive, to be fair, last time. He looked like a horse that was just sort of the penny was dropping, as they say. And I just think he'll go well again. Marhaba, the champ, I didn't think much of that race at York last time, but he's obviously unexposed. Majestic, I don't know what happened to him at Newmarket 2 starts ago when I really fancied him. He was better at York last time, but I think that's plenty short enough, 9-2. I get Savvy Victory. I was on him for the Cambridgeshire last year. I thought he had a massive chance, and to be fair, he ran a really, really good draw. He was drawn in the middle, and it sort of didn't quite go right for him. He's up a few pounds in the weights here, but I think he can go well. Dual Identity was the other one in the Cambridgeshire, was obviously a big eye catch. I don't know what's happened to him since. He doesn't look quite the same horse. I was hoping, and I will throw a few quid at my old friend Bad Company, just because he likes Epsom, just because he's well drawn, just because I think the ground will be a little bit easier than people think it's going to be, and that's, I think, why he's such a big price, because otherwise I think he's got a solid chance. Masakila, we have to mention, he was 4th in the Derby last year. and now it's running off in the 90s in a handicap. It just looked horrible last time at York. I don't know what's happened to him. He seems to be pulling too hard, but Andrew Balding, pulling rabbits from the hat to left, right, and centre these days. So maybe Kealy will bounce back too. But I thought it was really hard. I ended up on bad company, but without any confidence.
Okay. Yeah, my opinion on Kealy is I almost thought that run in the Derby has made them continue down a path of sort of 10, 12 furlong races that I'm not entirely sure he particularly wants. And I think if they drop him back, he'd be quite interesting. But one I thought was quite interesting is Cadillac, who I half fancied last time at Newmarket. But if you look at his record, he doesn't actually run Newmarket particularly well, but he's got a cracking record on left-handed tracks. He's got cheek pieces on tomorrow. He's won blinkers 3 times, and he's finished first, second, and second in listed company. And again, it just looks a bit of an easier race. I just wondered whether a quirky left-handed track.
I fell for him at Newmarket last time. Funnily enough, I have been keeping an eye on him. I mean, the trainer will get the best out of him, I think, won't he?
Yeah, that's 3 runs at Newmarket, and he's never finished in the frame. He doesn't seem to particularly enjoy.
Could be right. Could be right. Yeah.
So I do have a slight fancy for Cadillac, especially if we've got any extra places on offer, Simon.
Yeah, we do 4 places instead of 3, so lots of extra places we chucked around on this competitive action. Been a big move for Majestic, who was 4th behind Mar Harbour, the champ at York, not beaten far, beaten a length. He's been back from 6th into 9th, soon to the same price as Mar Harbour, the champ. I know Mick and Janice Mariscotti very well, the owners of Masakela, and obviously I remember last year how thrilled they were when it came 4th in the Derby, and things just haven't gone to plan at all since then. But I just wonder, I mean, you look at that Derby form, and all the horses around him are now uprated in 100, changing the guards, 109, he was behind him, and Stone Age 118 was 6, Nations Pride 118 was 8, West Wind Blows 111, he's running off 99. I know that can happen, and maybe he's just completely lost his way. But it wasn't. I just wonder whether the return to Epsom on better ground might just, and with Ocean Murphy in the saddle and Andrew Balding's horses just all running so well, I'm gonna, I've backed him each way. As I say, I'll be cheering him on for the owners who are friends. But it's a very good competitive race. Cadillac's a 14-1 chance. And the money for Majestic.
I would say that our one of our commenters, where are we? Someone just made a very good comment. Oh yeah, Doghouse Riley, the only owner of Masakela, always has a winner at this meeting. And if you look at the owner's record at Epsom, they've run 20 horses at Epsom. 7 of them have won, 5 of them have finished second, 4 finished third, and 2 finished 4th. They've run 20 horses, and only 2 have finished out of the first 4. So they
some record, isn't it?
There is some record. So
it is. And funny enough, I wouldn't have said that because it would sound ridiculous. But the amount of times I've been there, and you know what me and Steve are like. We're always sort of jump on the coat straps of somebody having a winner. So we've wandered in with the Mariscottis to get the champagne in the winners' room. It feels like it happens a lot. So yeah, maybe it is just a lucky place for them.
Yeah.
Simon, it doesn't matter who's the owner. You're in there having champagne, so it doesn't matter if it's Mariscotti's or not.
No denial there. There was no denial there. We were waiting for a comeback.
I was trying to. I don't know that many owners, but yeah, they're one of my luckier ones, the Mariscottis. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. You pulled that one back, Simon. Well done. What's the selection, Keels?
I've forgotten what we were talking about now. It's been that long. Savvy victory for me.
We were saying it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Exactly. Right, yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know anyone, do I?
Or anything. But savvy victory, then the pick for Keels. Tom?
Bad company.
Okay, thanks, mate. It's a bit harsh, but what's the tip? No, Cadillac for me. I'll go with him 345. And Simon?
Yeah, Masakela for the Mariscottis.
Lovely stuff. Right then, let's move on to the feature of Friday then, and more classic action here with the Oaks, and a short price favourite in the shape of Save the Last Dance at 6-5. Soul Sister is 5-2. Running Lion is 11-2. Eternal Hope is 12-1. 20-1. Heartache Tonight 33-1. And bigger the rest. We better give everything a bit of a name check. Of course, we've got Red Riding Hood in there, Carnarvon, and Be Happy, Bright Diamond, Maman, June, Sea of Roses. But over the past 10 years, if you haven't been trained by O'Brien or Gosden, you might well have not bothered in the Oaks. And of course, they fought out the 1-2 in dramatic circumstances in last year's race. And Save the Last Dance is obviously a very short price favourite. Gosden's got Soul Sister and Running Lion up against Save the Last Dance. But I get the feeling if the second and third favourite weren't trained by at the Gosdens, Tom. You might be seeing an odds-on favourite here in the Oaks. It's only the respect of those two horses and that trainer, I think, that stopped everyone going a bit crazy for Save the Last Dance. And we've had all sorts of things said about that Chester performance. And how often do you see something that is just, it's kind of too good to be true, but then you go and look at the clock and you think, oh, okay, maybe it's real. And I don't really know what to do with this race tomorrow, because what I want to do is I want to see an absolute superstar bolt up, but that means not really betting in it.
Well, you can take the 6-5 if you think she's a superstar.
Yeah, fair, that
Ross,
is true.
To be fair,
I don't necessarily think she is, Tom. I just kind of want to see it. I kind of want her to. If she does it again, then we're in exciting territory.
Absolutely. I mean, I think she should be odds on, to be honest. I thought she was remarkably impressive at Chester. Now, I know the form's not great, but every other metric you look at, and just the visual, the eye test told you that she was something different. What I'm especially was interested in is the money for her before the Chester race. She was favourite for the Oaks before that run, having just won a maiden. Now, I know that maiden worked out well. Obviously, Soul Sister and has come into the equation now, and Running Line was there already, but personally can't see any of the others being anywhere near the level of Save the Last Dance. So I count out everything from Running the Line down, really. The question is, will either of those Gosden horses stay the trip? Everyone seems to tell me that Soul Sisters will stay the trip and Running Line won't stay the trip. Not convinced myself. I think it might be the other way round, personally. But they are two very good fillies too. They have to be the way they won their trials. I'm slightly concerned about Soul Sister getting home, if truth be told, because I thought the last 3 furlongs were exceptionally quick at York. Now the overall time wasn't that great, so it was turned into a real big sprint, and she sprinted home. She is fast, Soul Sister. I think that's what you can get out of the York run. Consequently, is she going to stay a mile and a half when the Ballydoyle boys are going to go really hard at it and turn it into a war of attrition? I don't think she will. Running Line probably won't. I think Save the Last Dance will win. And if you're looking for one to fly into the frame, which could easily happen if the Gosdens don't get home, we often see these in these races, a really big price one, just because they stay. Well, you've got to throw in Red Riding Hood, Heartache Tonight, and even Richard Hannon's Maman Joan, or whatever it's called, who reminds me a lot of Mojo Star, who came into this race as a maiden for the Hannons and came to the Derby, should I say, as a maiden for the Hannons and ran into the frame. She'll definitely stay. Don't think Carnarvon will. And so I think Save the Last Dance is probably a certainty myself.
Okay, Save the Last Dance then. A 6-5 shot for the Oaks. Are you a favourite believer here? Do you believe that?
Yeah, I'm a believer. I'm one of those people that can never back them myself. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do think she probably should be odds on. I think she might end up being odds on as well.
Yeah, I'm similar. That's what I was saying to Tom. I want to see her absolutely bolt up, but it's 6-5. Just I can't follow that.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, she looked good. I mean, the clock was off the charts compared to the rest of these. I mean, apparently her final splits made a rest look pedestrian in the Chester Vase, and he's full favourite for the Derby. So, she's obviously extremely good. If she's just as happy on goodish ground, then I really can't see what beats her. I do think Heartache Tonight will be placed, and I might back her without the Fav. She's obviously, that was a fine run last time out in the Prix St Allery Group 1, finishing 4th. She's a half sister to Wonderful Tonight, who's obviously won stacks of good races.
Yeah.
Group 1's the champions, fillies and mares at Asker, Lily Langtree, and a Hardwick beating Broome. So she's obviously likes, like her sister likes, a bit of cutting the ground. And if Tom's right and they have put plenty of water on, it might be okay. And I think she'll go well. She's going to absolutely relish going up in trips. Some of these might not.
Okay. Just to not call Tom out on Soul Sister, but I mean, obviously, Tom's been talking about pedigrees and whatnot. He's saying about staying, but a Frankel.
I mean, she should stay, shouldn't she? But Tom's point was she's extremely fast.
Yeah.
I mean, if she's extremely fast and she stays, then she's a potential superstar, isn't she?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So So yeah, I mean, I can definitely see where he's coming from, because it was a steadily run race and they did fly home.
And of course, we talk about this off air, but there's always that "it was York" noise in the back.
Well, yeah,
of your mind.
exactly. There's part of me doesn't want to trust that form. I mean, the others were over the other side, and I think Novakai is fairly slow.
Yeah.
Who finished second? I mean, she took ages just to get up for second in the end,
But then again, she beat a whole load of horses who were rated in triple figures.
Yeah.
Save the Last Dance beat a whole host of handicappers and novices.
Yeah, but by 22 lengths.
Yeah, fair.
in a stunning time. So yeah.
Okay. As for the others, obviously Eternal Hope was fairly impressive the way she battled on at Lingfield last time out. And I agree with you, Tom, in the shape of the Hannon horse Mammon June. I mean, she's got a pedigree that suggests she will absolutely relish the mile and a half, won't she? And like I said, they're not only the Hannon team, but also the Ammo Racing team. They're starting to not rewrite the rule book, but do things a little bit differently to everyone else, and it seems to be working for them.
Yeah, she's just got to be, was beaten 9 lengths in a maiden to come and beat Save the Last Dance, Soul Sister and Running Lion. It's asking an awful lot. She's got to be very, very good to get involved. But she will stay the trip. I think there's no doubt about that. She's very, very well bred. She cost a bit of money. I wouldn't be surprised to see her stay on into the frame at all. Well, the funny thing is we talk about Frankel should stay and Roaring Lion shouldn't. Well, Frankel never ran over a mile and a half. Roaring Lion did. Roaring Lion ran loads of races over a mile and 2. Frankel won 1. And yet we all say Roaring Lions can't stay and Frankel's can. Well, obviously what we've seen is that Frankel's do stay, but there's no reason. Roaring Lions only had 1 crop. There's no reason why his horses can't stay a mile and a half.
He's had 5 horses run over this trip. He's not had a winner yet, but 2 have placed. I mean, whereas Frankel over this trip, what have we got? 242 runners and 47 winners. Frankel's got a fantastic strike rate over a mile and a half, but Roaring Lions had 5 runners over the trip.
5 runners. He probably none of them have been anything as good as her. Look, she might not stay. There's every chance. I mean, I think the team, the Gosden team, are scared about both of them not staying, and I think that's the advantage the O'Briens will have, is they'll know that, and so they'll go really hard and make it into a proper stamina test. Because one thing we do know is that Save the Last Dance is going to be hitting the line.
Yes, absolutely. 6-5 Save the Last Dance, then Soul Sister 5-2, Running Line 11-2. Very top heavy market here, Simon. Why isn't Save the Last Dance odds on? Because everyone went crazy for her. Obviously, she bolted by 22 lengths. She comes to the right connections. The time was good. Is it because of sustained support for the others, or is it just it's just because it's the Oaks and you don't want to put in something too short?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think there's enough opposition to her, and there's enough unknowns, I suppose. They're still relatively unexposed horses, and as you said, the stats you read out at the start: 6 winners from 9 for Aidan O'Brien, 3 from 9 for John Gosden, and Gosden's got 2 alternatives. So, but it could be. We've seen, particularly with these Epsom Classics, the Ballydoyle. It's amazing how suddenly there can be real plungers on these Ballydoyle horses. I don't know what it is. There's some deep pockets out there. You could see this going odds on tomorrow. There's no question. It could be like an 8 for 11 chance come the off time if the money comes. So it's a sea of blue right now. Go down to 11 to 10, generally even money in a plate. So maybe she will go odds on. The traders have given me a load of in the know specials here, so I'm going to try and do them justice. You mentioned the 1-2 last year with Gosden and O'Brien. If you think Save the Last Dance and Soul Sister will fill the first 2 places in either order, that's a 7-4 chance.
Simon, I tell you what, if you give us one, I'm going to go to Tom straight after it. Good, bad, or neutral. Okay, Tom.
Okay. 7-4 to fill the first 2 places, 1-2 either way.
Bad.
Okay, Simon.
Right. Okay, go on this one. 2-1. Save the Last Dance or Soul Sister to win by over 1 3/4 lengths. So one of them to win, but.
Well, that's fair enough. Yeah, I think so. Save the Last Dance will probably win by 5. So, yeah, that's pretty good.
These are Oaks and Derby special. Aidan O'Brien to win both the Oaks and the Derby, 6-1. He's got 3 runners in each, and the favourite for both.
Keels is better at working out these prices than me.
It's probably about 9-1 if you just double the favourites, isn't it? I think something like that. So you got the others running here as well.
Yeah, and he's got outsiders, but he does win the races with outsiders. I wouldn't be going overboard with it.
No.
Okay, there you go. Neutral, I think. So we've got bad, good, neutral.
2 more. 7-4. Frankie to win at least one of the Oaks and Derby. So just Frank to win.
Well, I mean,
And six.
Well, I think a rest's going to drift massively, isn't it? I don't
think he needs the heavens to open, doesn't he?
Not what I do anymore. And so you're at 7-4, a rest on top. No, not great for me, is it, Keels?
No, I'm same with you on a rest. I think he's going for problem, especially if the ground has got firm in it on Saturday.
Simon?
And then the final one is William Buick to win at least one of them at 3-1. He's got Military Order second favourite and Eternal Hope 12-1 chance. And 3-1 Buick to win at least one of the Oaks and Dubs.
No, I don't think Eternal Hope's got any chance whatsoever. So
2 Oaks, Keels.
Right, so we'll move swiftly on.
Okay, there you go then. Fair enough. Okay, so there's one good price boost out of them.
Yeah, we like the save the last dance to win by 25 lengths one. What's that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't get to that one. But listen, anyway, there you go. Great classic. I think I'm a save the last dance one. I went round and round trying to find outsiders and alternatives, but I just thought, as you say, she was well back for the Oaks before the race. She absolutely hosed up at Chester, and I think she'll probably be well back tomorrow and go off odds on and win.
Okay, there you go. And Save the Last Dance, Running Lion, Heartache Tonight, says Callum. That's his 1, 2, 3. Matthew Collins, Save the Last Dance, Heartache Tonight, and Be Happy. Jean Lawley, Running Lion, Happy, and Sea of Roses. That'll be some tricast, wouldn't it? Sea of Roses has a really good chance of winning to a place, says Jean. So plenty of opinions here for this. Save the Last Dance is a steering job, says Doghouse Riley, but love the fast ground lump on 6-5 favourite. So yeah, I kind of hope she does absolutely bolt up. But I do think that Hannon horse, I do think Maman June is very interested on pedigree, on the way she travelled, on the way they operate, and also the way that not only the owners but also Hannon runs big races. I remember the Minerva Rose running a big race, and this of them winning at big odds at the back end of the season in Doncaster. So they're often ignored in the betting. I'll take her each way. Keels, what will you do?
I think Save the Last Dance to win, but I shall have a few quid on Heartache Tonight without the fab.
Okay. Tom?
Well, I'm lumping on this price boost here. Save the Last Dance to win by over 1.75 lengths. That's the one for me.
There you go. And Simon?
Yeah, Save the Last Dance for me. I think she'll win.
Okay, lovely stuff. 2 more races to go then on Friday's Epsom card, and we've got the Surrey Stakes here, 7 furlongs at listed contests for 3-year-olds, apart from that 1 year where there was that pandemic, you remember that? And Safe Voyage won it. 5-4, Holguin, Olivia Meralda is 7-2, Streets of Gold 9-2, Secret Angel 15-2, Dandy Alice is 10-1, 14-1 Magical Sunset, and he's a monster, 33-1 Elvenia, and Tension is the outsider of the bunch, and they've got Holguin here, Keels, in as if he's won the race already.
Well, yeah, I mean, I tried to get him beat because he's only won on his debut, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at his form, he's just run in big career bets every single time he runs, and that next second to Angel Blur, I mean, there's nothing of that quality in here. And he's drawn 3, and he's just going to make all, isn't he?
Okay.
Simple as that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay, I thought it might be a bit more complicated than that, but you've convinced me otherwise. Holguin is 5-4.
He's just going to make all.
Okay. Yeah. There's a few horses I thought. I mean, we were talking about Hannon and Ammo Racing. Magical Sunset's gone from being, possibly a Guineas contender to 14-1 for the Surrey Stakes here. Tom, is that a bit of an over exaggeration?
I don't fancy her that much. I thought Secret Angel had a really good chance myself from stall 1. I think she might make all Keels. She ran a cracker in the Nell Gwyn. I know it didn't turn out to be a good Nell Gwyn, but she raced very prominently into that headwind. She kept on to be third. Then she ran against Sacred and Queen Animatu and Sandrine last time as a 3-year-old. Stranded up the middle, not beaten far by those top class fillies. I think she's got a good chance here. I think she'll like the fast ground. I think she's in stall 1. I think Epsom will suit her. I think it's between her and Holguin, and I have the prices. I've got to go for Secret Angel.
Okay, Secret Angel then is a 15-2 shot. I mean, part of the problem with Holguin making all is he's a monster. Does like to grind it out from the start, and there's probably 1 or 2 others as well. He does look a bit of a monster. It's just whether he takes to the turf. But yeah, Holguin 5-4 then. A lot of money for Andrew Balding's charge, who keeps getting beat, but in better races. Simon, any offers or angles on this?
Yeah, listen, I think favourites have got a very good record in this race, and if the favourite doesn't win, it tends to be short price, and there's been a couple of 3-1s and a 4-1 outside the favourites in the last few years. Low draws again, lots of horses being drawn 1, 2, 3, and 4 have won this. So yeah, Holguin for me. I must admit, I sort of thought I did a little double with him and Save the Last Dance. But again, again, I'm boringly going on about how well Oisin Murphy's riding at the moment, but he's just riding brilliantly. And, this looks a really solid chance. Lots of money for Olivia Meralda. Was 92 earlier into 72. That seems to be the best back, along with Streets of Gold. Streets of Gold, the Eve Johnson Houghton horse, shortened from 6s into 92. Whereas He's a Monster and Magical Sunshine have taken an absolute walk the other way. He's a Monster's out 14 from 8 an hour and a half ago. But yeah, I think Holguin, very solid for me. He's the one. He'll win.
Okay. He's a Monster, Magical Sunset, taking a walk. Got absolutely nothing to do with the fact that I thought they were the two overpriced. And quite frankly, I couldn't hit a barn door with a banjo. So, Holguin 5-4 favourite there. But
You're saying that, isn't it? Why would you want to hit a barn door with a banjo?
Maybe you're an experimental musician who's and the rest of the band is trapped in the barn.
Well, there you go.
Okay, Holguin then is 5-4. Oisin Murphy, you said, 5 rides today at Yarmouth, 3 winners and 2 horses beaten, a nose and a head. So yeah, he's riding very well indeed. So Keels, the penultimate race.
Yeah, I think the Favs are just going to win.
Okay, Tom.
Secret Angel for me.
Okay, Secret Angel. I'll take Magical Sunset and He's a Monster to finish first and second, or second last and last. Simon.
And the favourite for me, Holguin.
Okay, there we go. Let's go out with a bang then. 5:45 at Epsom is a 3-year-old plus 7 furlong handicap. But the favourite is an informed 3-year-old in the shape of Urban Sprawl at 3-1. Marley Park 11-2. Clochette is 6-1. Sandcastle City is 13-2. On a Session is 7-1. Lord Rapscallion 9s with Spanish Star and 11-1. And bigger the rest. And like I said, pretty much. It's been rattling the crossbar left, right and centre recently, Tom, but I looked at this race, I looked at Urban Sprawl, I thought this is a Fanning and Johnston 3-year-old handicapper of old. I watched the replay back at Goodwood. He led them all a merry dance and looked like he was pulling away at the line. If he gets to the front, I thought he'd win very easily. Of course, after 50 yards, he might not be at the front.
Well, I've very seldom heard you so confident, Ross. Before the show, you were telling me it was an absolute stone-bonking certainty. So you've given the case there for Urban Sprawl.
They're not the words I use, Tom. They're not. I would never use those words. Certainly not stone-bonking, anyway.
Hadn't possibly get beaten. If it does get beaten, I won't be here tomorrow. All that was coming out, and in a way, I agree with you. If Urban Sprawl gets the front, he will be hard to beat, but I think the other jockeys will be onto him, weren't they? I mean, they sort of let him free at Goodwood on Saturday. I do think he's a typical Johnson horse that they might not be able to stop. But I know Keels is keen on Marley Park, and so am I. I just think they're going to get a strong pace here. He loves Epsom. He's very well handicapped. Everything going for him. I can't see him being out the 3. So at the prices, I'd prefer Marley Park at 11-2 over Urban Sprawl at 3-1. But I do get your reasoning, Ross, and your confidence is not infectious.
It's not infectious. Okay, fair enough. Okay, well, let's hope my seconditis isn't either. Keels?
Yeah, well, there are others that can go forward as well, and that's what I'm hoping for. I can see where you're going. If he gets in easily, it's going to be difficult. But Marley Park, I mean, has made a habit of powering down the centre of the track and going very close at this course. Been in the first 3, 8 of 9 starts. I think 5 of his best, or 6 of his best 7 runs on RPRs have been at Epsom, and the one interloper was at Goodwood. And that run at Goodwood was last time out. He'd been a bit below perform, dropping down the handicap. Jim Boyle has brought him to the boil for the first crack at Epsom in 2023. And this is the one. If Ross Colin's in the frame, I'm still working, but I'm giving up the game if this one doesn't get in the frame as well.
Okay, there you go. Well, you're not going to be into
especially with the extra places. I mean, I think they're a crack in each way double. You get 4 places, those 2.
So basically, if Urban Sprawl gets beat and those 2 finish out of the frame, then Tom and Simon are doing the show on their own.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I'll be crying for about a month.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay, take us all.
Happy with that, Si? I'm happy with that. Can't be worse than these clowns that we've got now, can it?
Look, one of you might have to go into the studio, and we know how much you love that. So, Simon.
There'll be a 45 show as well, which would be handy, wouldn't it?
Right then, Simon, see us out with one last angle in the 5:45, and then we'll get the naps.
Well, I mean, Urban Sprawl has been really well backed. It was a 92 chance, around sort of 5 o'clock. It's now down to 3-1, being backed everywhere. So I think they share your views, Ross, or it's your money, one or the other. And I'm with the other guys. I'm Jim Boyle's a local trainer, who's a good guy. Marley Park, 9 of his 28 career runs have been at Epsom, which is obviously understandable. He only has to walk across the road, but his record, as Paul said, is brilliant. He's only been out of the first 3 once, and that was 5th. And he's only a couple of pounds higher than his last winning mark. So I think Marley Park, very solid each way. Good money for Castle, City, bits of money for Pocket the Profit. So plenty of money flying around in the last. But Urban Sprawl, huge gamble. Marley Park for me.
Okay, lovely stuff. Let's see at the 5:45 at Epsom then. Before we get the naps, you're not here tomorrow night, so what's your derby angle?
Well, rather lately, I've sort of followed Tom in on his anti-post tip on Sprewell for Jessica Harrington.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a very, very strong stay. I think stall 6 will be all right.
And she's been banging in the winners today.
Banging in the winners, so in cracking form, yeah, like him.
Okay, Sprewell it is then. We'll hear Tom's thoughts and feelings on that tomorrow night, and also don't forget to watch What a Shout, because we've got Aidan Bryan, you know him, Aidan O'Brien interview on that, so you can get his thoughts about his runners over the course of the weekend. But to bring tonight's show to a close, on day 1 of the Oaks and Derby meeting, what are the naps at Epsom? Starting off with you, Keels.
Ross Coling, 235.
Okay, lovely stuff. Tom Segal, what about you?
Something I'll never win, the Ballon d'Or.
Okay, it's a bit late for that, isn't it? Simon Clare?
I'm going to go, thanks to that person who sent in the Mariscotti record at the Epsom meeting, because he's really made me think Masakela's going to have a big chance. So Masakela is my nap tomorrow night. For tomorrow.
Cracking open the champagne, if that's the case. Sneaking into the back of the photo. And I'll go with Urban Sprawl to make all in the 5:45. What better nap than one that rhymes with the reasoning. So thanks to everyone for watching as well. We'll be back tomorrow night. Keels won't be, but myself, Tom and Simon will be. And we'll be back to get properly stuck into the Derby. And then we can watch the Derby and then leave Epsom and go for lunch. So lovely stuff. Anyway, see you tomorrow night.